Mornings used to be absolute chaos in my house. Messy kitchen, hungry kids, and me scrambling trying to figure out what I'm going to do for breakfast. But then I found a system that changed everything, and that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. 3 simple tips that will put your breakfast on autopilot, plus some easy make-ahead meals to get you started. So we're going to do a quick Goodwill drop. I need to run to the store for a few things for being in the kitchen. Maybe stop and get some coffee.
Yay!
What is it you wanted me to say? Oh, yes. My daughter, she also would like a drink out because it is like a special thing. And we like supporting local, and there's this amazing local place here we love. But she doesn't have to do anything to earn it because she's just perfect and amazing and beautiful. Is that better? So we're back and I have everything I need. I'm glad there was nothing missing. And if you can't tell by now, I cannot stand making breakfast. What I do love is making sure my kids have good hearty meals in the morning so they don't snack all day. We have chickens, so we have plenty of eggs. I had prepped the bacon ahead of time, as you saw. And then we get milk from a farm up the street, so we had to grab that. And the first thing we're going to make are these delicious bacon cheddar egg bites. You can use Gruyere, you can use Gouda, any other sort of cheese you want, but these are going to be so easy because you put everything in a blender, you make them ahead, you bake them, and then I pop pretty much every single one of these recipes in this video into the freezer. I'm doing this midweek to be prepped for the following week, Monday through Friday, and this has radically changed our mornings. So my first tip for you is to identify 4 to 5 breakfasts that you know your family really enjoys that you can make ahead and batch. And obviously you don't want to pick something like oatmeal or cereal because that is not going to sit well. However, you could do overnight oats, that kind of thing. I really enjoy a slow morning. I cannot stand getting up and having to rush and make the kids a breakfast, which I know sounds the opposite of being a homemaker. However, I would much rather sit and enjoy a cup of coffee, read to my children, just have a cozy morning. Now, of course, there are days where we have to rush out the door. If we're going to go out Monday morning and different events, we have to go. And of course, you know the chaos that comes with that, which makes these breakfasts even better. I think if you have to leave every morning at a certain time and you have to load up a bunch of kids, you're definitely going to want to use this method. Another thing I like that this eliminates is that I can think ahead of time about each of my children. Most of the time they eat the same thing for breakfast, and my older 3, don't typically complain. However, there are days where one doesn't want this or one doesn't like that. And so having a little bit of variety to say, hey, would you prefer this muffin and this protein this morning, or this carb and this protein? Like I said, I feel like that's very few and far between, but I know in the toddler stage that happened quite a bit, where for some reason, all of a sudden, one child just decided, I don't like eggs anymore, or I don't like muffins today, or I don't like whatever it is you're making seconds before you give it to me. This is even going to work for your proteins. You do want to go ahead and cook those proteins ahead of time and have them ready to go in the freezer for that morning. So tip number 2 is having a batch prepping day. You're going to need a day in which you have a few hours set aside, probably just an hour, but in my case with toddler and baby, it typically takes me 2, where you can make these all at once and have it done for the week. So I have those egg bites in the oven. While that's going, I'm making the batter for a ricotta lemon raspberry muffin. I just have a couple different recipes that I enjoy. I do have all of these linked below for you. So if you're like, I don't even know where to start, or I need inspiration, anything you see here will be linked below. These are some of our family's favorite staple recipes that I know work well for batching. I do have one child that needs to be gluten-free, so we also use a lot of almond flour, and I have another recipe in here that is using oat flour that I just make myself, or grind myself at home, I should say. I don't grow oats. I do grow other things. And so I've got 2 muffin pans here, and this recipe actually is going to make another extra 6. It just ends up always making more, even though it's a double batch recipe for 12. So I actually give those ones to the kids the day of, because you guys know that when you're making and batching food, if you do not put it up right away, the kids will get to it and they will be like, oh, I just want to eat this now today, when you put all this work into it to have throughout the week. So now we are just going to cook up breakfast sausage ahead of time. We do our own pigs, so this is just from our freezer stock, but buy whatever protein you want at the store or from your local farmer. Breakfast sausage, bacon. I know eggs are really expensive right now, and I started with an egg recipe. We have chickens, but I am telling you, look for your local farmers or your local homesteaders or anybody that has chickens. Often we have extra. It's insane. And I'm happy to sell mine for $3 to $5. However, my sister lives right down the street. So instead, we just give her eggs as well. But just make them ahead and pop them in the freezer. So if you see here, I've cut up the egg bites. I have some parchment paper in between, and I'm storing them in these gallon freezer bags. Same thing with the muffins. I'm going to store them, and I'm just going to lay them all flat in my freezer, lined up, and take them out the night before we decide to use them. That being said, I actually leave the egg bites in the freezer till the moment I want to eat them. I pop them in our convention oven. You could do an air fryer if you wanted, or something like that, and just heat them up real quick that day. You don't need to take them out ahead of time. All right, my next tip for you is whenever you are making a breakfast, make extra of it. This morning is not the same morning as my prep morning, but my kids have friends over right now, and I'm making a big batch of waffles because they're all going to eat. And because I'm already cooking them and making them, I just made a huge batch of waffle mix so that I could make them all now. This is our homestead logo. I made it. It's rooting for you on the back, and then Plant More Life Homestead. We do have an Instagram, but no YouTube. But yes, if you're already cooking and time allows, batch that recipe and make extra, and those go in the freezer beautifully too. Another tip I have is to utilize your family. If you have kids that are old enough, get them in helping. I have worked my butt off and made all this food. They actually do help with the food too. So they are going to help me clean up because it creates a giant mess, and their friends are now home. And so we can take a minute and do a really fast reset. This is a weekend recipe. I wish I could have the music playing that we were dancing to, because we love jamming out to music in the kitchen. I don't want to carry that load alone, and so teach them young, very young. My kids loved being in the kitchen, as early as they could stand up on a little ladder and be next to me. But maybe you're in a season with toddlers and that's not realistic. So instead, get together with some mamas. If it's a night you can all sneak away and do it together, it's so much more fun. Or if it's a day that you just have a bunch of kids running around, entertaining each other, and it's pure chaos, but you have a group of ladies that you can do this together with, and you all leave with meals, that is also super helpful. And I really like doing this for crock pot dinners, doing a crock pot meal swap with friends. So there are ways to figure it out. I do invite you, though, to let your kids be part of it. Often I'm the one in the way. It takes longer. I want to get it done. But when you do let them help when they're younger, they're so very helpful when they're older. And yeah, it might take longer sometimes, and that's okay. My baby got my daughter's hair there. But it gives them the ability to build confidence in the kitchen. They might have a love and joy for it. You might have a little chef on your hands. You just never know, but it's never a problem to get them helping you. So again, there was another morning we decided to do muffins, and so I can easily add to my stock by making extra of that recipe. I'm telling you, we love dancing in the kitchen. So share your favorite recipes below, and I'll see you next time.